As the first sea breeze of 1250 swept through the palace corridors of Palermo, Sicily, the air carried a peculiar aroma, a melding of burnt myrrh and the briny breath of the sea.
Within a tranquil chamber adorned with intricate geometric patterns and mosaics, an old man with a gaunt face and eyes as piercing as a falcon's gazed silently at a hawk receding into the distance. He was not reviewing the ironclad heavy cavalry that once made all of Europe tremble. Instead, upon a scroll of yellowed papyrus, he was recording his final observation on avian flight in meticulous Latin. This patriarch penned a sentence as lucid as glacial ice: seek God within the order of all things, rather than in the clamor of men's supposed miracles. He was Frederick II, Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, a polymath of pagan brilliance whom his contemporaries marveled at as the Stupor Mundi, the wonder of the world. This is a chronicle of how reason stitches together the tatters of prejudice, and how knowledge erects a fortress for the soul. The genesis of Frederick II's life was a narrative of destitution, a childhood spent wandering the streets of Sicily, nurtured by the diverse milk of multiple civilizations. An orphaned emperor who lost his parents in infancy, he found his true classrooms in the markets and ports of Palermo. From the scratch-pads of Arab scholars, he learned the stars, from the contracts of Jewish merchants, he mastered logic, and from the anecdotes of Greek veterans, he learned the art of survival. This freedom born of neglect bestowed upon him eyes untainted by the veils of prejudice. When he finally traversed the Alps to reclaim his heavy crown, he was met with a profound sense of isolation. He understood that power was not a reward, but an expensive transaction for the protection of truth. Yet, he chose to embrace it, attempting to illuminate every dim corner of the cathedral with the light of reason. If his early studies were born of hunger, the Sixth Crusade was the crucible that pushed Frederick's intellectual aesthetics to its practical zenith. In the Jerusalem of 1228, while other lords clamored to cleanse the holy city with blood, the emperor brought his Arabic translators and astrolabes into his tent to exchange poetry with Sultan al-Kamil. Leveraging their shared passion for mathematics and verse, he secured the keys to the holy city with a single parchment of wet ink, without discharging a single arrow. He admonished himself, "Be not seduced by the prestige of sanctity, seek instead the common balance of humanity amidst differing faiths." This extreme rationality and inclusivity rendered him like a bar of gold submerged in the deep sea, silent, yet exerting a bone-chilling influence on ally and foe alike within the turbulent Mediterranean landscape. The summit of power is often shadowed by the most clandestine betrayals. Frederick was excommunicated 3 times by the Pope and branded the beast of the apocalypse. In those dead of nights, besieged by papal curses, he retreated ever more frequently to his falconry grounds, penning his magnum opus, the manuscript of De Arte Venandi cum Avibus. He discovered that the deeper his understanding of these creatures' natures grew, the more he felt a creator-like solitude. He wrote, "I once believed I was ruling men, now I find I am merely observing beings far purer than humanity." When he witnessed the rebellion of his kin and the capture of his heirs, he exhibited a patriarchal mercy. This expansiveness, born of witnessing the ebb and flow of empires, became the most unyielding armor of his twilight years, allowing him to maintain a composure as serene as a setting sun in the face of any extremity. Frederick II's final days unfolded in a state of solemn and prophetic tranquility. By now, his once resplendent imperial robes hung loosely upon his titanic frame. He understood that after his passing, the empire built upon intellectual foundations would continue to revolve within its ancient order, yet the sketches of the stars he left behind would ultimately serve as a ladder for humanity to escape the mire of superstition. In his journals he noted, "You are but an actor in this grand theater. Since the director has signaled your exit, take your bow with grace." At the dawn of December 1250, the reigns over Sicily ceased. The polymath emperor refused his medicine. He turned away, pressing his face against the stack of manuscripts scented with orange blossoms. The morning glow illuminated the waters of the Mediterranean, and with it, the countenance of an emperor who had finally found liberation. Even today, 7 centuries after his departure, the name of Frederick II remains the sole sanctuary for many a solitary seeker in the dead of night. He left behind no cathedrals piercing the heavens, but a spiritual template of self-salvation. He reminds us that even if the entire world besieges you with prejudice, the order within your heart remains governed by your own perception of truth. He maintained absolute lucidity amidst absolute violence. Beneath that magnificent sarcophagus of deep red porphyry, he rests in a posture of eternal contemplation, seemingly still soothing this increasingly anxious world. Frederick's words cross the boundaries of geography and ethnicity, living within every soul that yearns for peace and the unknown. His life was a sapient odyssey, seeking the sacred rhythm within the mundane world. The saga of Frederick II thus draws to a slow close amidst the eternal cadence of the Mediterranean waves. He was never an opportunist seeking fame, he was merely a weary soul who steadfastly refused to cease his exploration. He tells us that no matter how mundane your life may be, the reason within is your only true and eternal refuge. Just as he sat through the frigid winter nights of Palermo, clutching a guttering candle to trace the arcs of feathers with his quill. Perhaps you, too, are navigating the uncertainties of life or feeling the weight of isolation. But believe this, in every life, there exists a private falconry notebook. A space for dialogue with a universe that requires no outward explanation. May the serenity and vastness of Frederick become the softest feather in your dreams. Good night, and may your dreams be fair.